Well, hello there, internets. It's me, DP Knudten, and I'm continuing my journey with BOOKWARD BOUND. 301 days from I should really do this to done. Now, what is that done? It's writing a new book by January 1st, 2021, and have it ready to go up on Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing, so that I can have a new book to bring with me to Social Media Marketing World 2021. Knock on wood, assuming we still have live events in 2021, given that we're living through some very interesting times in the true meaning of the Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. Well, we are, but it's also a real opportunity. You can look at the glass as half empty or half full. Well, I think this one is half full of opportunity, and there's a real chance for me to make some moves when it comes to writing this book and getting it done. So I'm going to get to it right away by kicking over to the mind mapping software that I use to capture all the ideas that I want to include in the book. And I'm using iThoughts X, which is a macOS desktop version of iThoughts, which is also available for this bad boy, an iPhone. On iPhone, it's just called iThoughts. And I think there's also an iThoughts HD for iPad. It's been a while since I've used that, so I'm not exactly sure. But I will say that anything I talk about in terms of equipment or software or anything like that, it's all stuff that I've purchased myself for creating books. In fact, my first book, Rotoma, the ROI of Social Media Top of Mind, which I wrote with my colleague Spencer X. Smith, was completely self-produced from scratch. And yet, as people have told me, it looks like a real book. Well, that's because it is a real book. Because I didn't want to create just one of those things that, looks like it was turned out in a weekend. I wanted something that had heft and value. So this book is 214 pages. So my goal is to do another 204, let's call it 200 to 250 page book about nonfiction branding. In fact, the title of the book mirrors the title of the podcast that's associated with it. The book will be called Nonfiction Brand, Discovering, Crafting, and Communicating Your Completely True, Completely You brand that you already are. It's all about being an authentic person, your authentic self, and also marketing it in a way that people can understand exactly who you are, what you do, and how you do it. So I'm going straight to iThoughts right here, which is the mind mapping software I'm using. I've divided the book, if you've been watching, into two sections. The practice, which I think might even be a second workbook, and you can see why I love mind mapping. So it allows you to focus only on what you want to focus on. So in this case, I'm going to be focusing on this first section because this is going to be the heavy lift. This is a lot of the writing that I have to do, the original writing. And it's based on a ton of ideas that I'm capturing in this mind map. So one of the things you'll notice is that I use cues for myself, like a section is all caps and bold. A subsection of a section is not all caps or bold. But in this case, no, I'm going to change that. I'm going to be consistent. The Rosetta Stone refers to a story that I'm going to tell in that section. But anyway, you can see the birth of brand, I should say. A logo is not a brand. What's up with the DP? That's a story. I don't know. I'm going to leave that there for now. Why brand? Ask the Red Gummy Bear. branding under an umbrella. Oh, this is where it might go. Let's go Command B to get that there. And open it up, because differentiation, that might be the place that I do. One, this is not going to be a section. It'll just be what's up with the DP question mark. You'll notice asterisk, asterisk. iThoughts actually lets you use Markdown if you are so inclined, but I don't want to use Markdown. So I'm going to get rid of the asterisks because I don't want it to be this part to be bolded. And I want to get rid of, come on. There we go. All right, so differentiation, demonstration, don't show, tell, DDB story, and the fact that these are the names of all the Davids in the group I was going to be in. So in order to differentiate them, I went with DP. Makes sense, right? Okay, moving on. Down. Scalpel versus Swiss Army knife. I think this is a top-level idea, so I'm going to Command B this, and scalpel versus Swiss Army knife. That'll be a top-level section. Hey, I got to check my old book. Did I write about that in this book? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think I wrote about it. I'll have to double check, but I will, in fact, double check to make sure that I didn't write about it. Me or my biz, what's the difference? Hey, Mandy. Yes, I am getting on it because this is what this whole thing is about. Making an appointment, or Mandy, who I'm talking to, is a friend, and I'm to everybody online. I made the commitment that, hey, I'm going to be doing this every day for 301 days. That's right. Okay. I come back from social media marketing world. I have this idea of writing a book before next year, and so how many days were left in 2020? It happened to be 301. So I told the story last night of the inspiration for this whole thing. But let's just say this whole thing is a 301 consecutive day live stream of me pushing my book forward somehow. And, you know, sometimes I just don't know how I'm going to get this done. But the whole thing is, a book is like an elephant. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you're watching me chew my food right now. Good elephant. All right, so I don't know, but I'm just a plumber. Me or my biz. What's your key? 3. Yeah. Good for you, Mandy. Keep the books coming. All right, fewer better. Brandon. What's your brander? I'm going to get rid of the now. I noticed this with my podcast. I always have, everybody has words that they throw in as filler words. Sometimes it's or well or so. Well, my filler words are so, well, and now. So I just did it. I have to try to limit my use of my filler words, especially in my headlines. So that's why I got rid of that now. And I think that comes from my mom. Now, David. Yeah, she would always say that to me. Meet the 20-something-year-old that's eating your lunch. That's a good section. Private brands that blew up. personal brands worth I'm going to say IRL. In real life, personal brands in real life, and that will be a list of people who are doing personal branding really well. And this is a note to myself to grab pull quotes from each section. So I want to count how many top level sections 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So for people who are smarter and faster than me, forgive me, but I'm pulling out a calculator. Let's just call it 215 divided by 17 equals 12 and a half, just over 12 and a half pages of book, or each section to make my count. Can I do that? 12 and a half. I might be able to. Especially if I look at word count. Now, hold on a second while I grab this. I have a number of books by people that I respect and have enjoyed and stuff like that. So one of the things you might want to do when you start creating your book is looking at the books you like and go to school on them. You know, literally go to school on them. Like here's The Coaching Habit by Michael Bungay Stanier, or Stanier, however you say his name. And what I did was I looked at the count of pages, how many pages, the size of the book, and then I took a representative page that was pretty full of text and counted the number of words. So this is 227 pages, 28 lines, 13 words each line, with a possible total of 364 words per page. Okay? Mark Schaefer's book, Marketing Rebellion, another great book. The Most Human Company Wins. His book is a little bit bigger. It's 5.5 by 8.5, 290 pages. But get this, double spacing. The dude gets away with it, man. 270 words a page. So I think this is going to be my model, because Chris Ducker's book, The Rise of the Youpreneur, is 8.25 or 8.5 by, or I'm sorry, 5.5 by 8.5, 33 lines, 13 words for 429 words a page, because dun, 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 he did not double space. He single spaced, but there's plenty of room in there. And by the way, when it says 429 words a page, I'm guessing most of the pages are probably more like 390, because he airs it out with subheads and stuff like that. And then hardcover, Ann Handley's book, Everybody Writes, another really great book, 298 pages at 6.25 by 9.25 hardcover, 396 words a page. So if you do the average on here, 264. Well, let's do the average here. And I bet you, Mandy, you probably can do it in your head. To which I say, I can't. All right, so 270 plus 264 plus 298 plus 364 equals 1,196 divided by 4 books divided by 4 equals an average of 300 words a page. Okay, that's my goal. 300 words a page. And I'm actually going to make note of that. 300 words per page. I tend to write, like when I write a blog post, I write it and I write it and I write it. And then when I think I'm about done here, I'll do a word count, and it's almost clockwork that it comes out to between 500 and 600 words, typically right around 535 words. So I guess that's my biorhythms telling me that my writing, my best length of writing is about 500 words-ish, which would come in each one of these sections or subsections of a section should probably be about 500, let's just say 550 words. That would give me kind of almost 2 full pages of solid copy. Air that out a little bit with some subheads, maybe an illustration or two, and you can easily go 550 words per every 2 pages. So great. I've now figured out what I should be aiming for, because yeah, you should write the book. You should write the book until you're done, until you get everything out. But at the same time, if you're thinking about the entire project, you need to keep in mind, call it the gestalt, the big picture of your book. If I want my book to be over 200 pages, which I think a book has to be to have the heft and plonk factor. I call it plonk factor because you drop it on a table and it goes plonk. And it makes a noise because it's substantial. If I want to have that, I have to write 500 and, between 500 and 600 words every time I sit down and write. And actually, I think that is going to be very doable for me. The fact is, I now have to go through and say, you know what? I need more subsections. So I can have top level. I could have 17 top level sections, but each of those sections needs to have, what did I say, 12? Let's say 6, so that each subsection has 2 pages. Needs to have 6 subsections or major topic areas, or a major graphic. A graphic can easily take up an entire page, or maybe there's a design treatment, like one of the sections that I thought about last night that I really like this idea is that I'm trying to find it. It's in a part basically where I ask the question, what is the foundation for every blog, post, tweet, video, podcast, dun, 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 dun. I want to create this huge list that takes up an entire page so that the answer down at the bottom is your personal brand. Trying to make the point that everything you do online is an extension of your personal brand, whether you like it or not. I mean, if you post up pictures of you out drinking with all your friends, that you're sharing that as part of your personal brand, whether you like it or not. And I once told a friend of mine who was significantly younger than me by a couple of decades, I once very gently took her aside and said, if you go on your Instagram and count the number of times you have an alcoholic drink in your hand, is that the message you want to be sending an HR professional who might be looking at your Instagram feed when they are thinking about hiring you? And she looked at me like I was a real jerk or something. And I'm like, if it's between you and someone else and your feed is nothing but party girl and the other person is all about professional development and supporting her family and the community and stuff like that, yeah, that's branding. If you're at Coachella and you're at Bonnaroo and you're following fish and you're posting about how you called in sick and all that stuff, that's part of your brand, which could be cool. Just understand, anything you post becomes a part of your brand. That's all I'm saying. All right, so I've come to some pretty good realizations today. Let's get these. And again, this is how you use mind maps, instead of writing something, I'm going to talk book configuration. And then say 200 to 250 pages. XX major sections, because I don't know what that number is ultimately going to be, but I do know that each subsection what was that, 2 pages, 500 to 600 words. And this is the math of your book, you know. Sometimes novel writers will get a contract, and that contract will stipulate a minimum number of words. You know, if 50,000 words or something like that. And typically that's just to make sure that the writer doesn't deliver something that's half the size of what the publisher expects. But in this case, for me, it's how much writing do I have to do? And the answer is, well, if you want to have a book that is 200 to 250 pages in size, it needs to have, I'm just going to put 17, because right now there are 17 sections. Just say XX major section, because I want it to be more than 17, to be honest. And then each subsection, 2 pages, etc. So now I've got a mental shape for the book in my head. And you'll see also that I'm already mentally preparing myself for the fact that the book, the regular the regular book that's this size, I'm counting on that being about between 200 and 250 pages. But I'm also talking about having a workbook that is going to be 8 by 10. And I think I might even size this down to 5.5 by 8.5. No offense to my first book, which is 6 by 9. I don't know. I'm fighting myself on that because this has enough room for people to write in it, you know, if they want to do that. I don't know. I'm rethinking that again. But that's what happens when you write a book. You think, well, it's going to be this, and then it starts taking on a life of its own. So I'm not going to tie its hands too much, but I am going to keep advancing this ball forward. Now, which I just said. I said now. Did you hear that? My daughter wants to be able to watch TV on Dad's big screen down here with her boyfriend. So what does that mean when it comes to this live stream tonight? It means that I'm going to end it a little early because we have many miles to go before this self-sequestration is over, and I don't want to start it off poorly with my daughters who can make my life a living hell. So, for the Nonfiction Brand podcast, which comes out every Monday, check it out. Next week is episode 83, I think. And so definitely like, subscribe, review, and refer the Nonfiction Brand podcast to anyone you know who might be interested in creating a personal brand for themselves that can help build their business and take themselves to the next level. Also, Nonfiction Brandversity is a free Facebook group that I'd love to invite you to join. All you have to do is go to Facebook, search up Nonfiction Brandversity, ask to join, answer 3 questions to prove you're not a bot, and you're in, guaranteed. And yes, Mandy, and you enjoy as well. It's always nice to have you on the other end of this camera, and I really do appreciate it. So, music, take us on out. By the way, that's the Nonfiction Brand theme song that I created in Apple's GarageBand for free. I love me some free stuff. That's all for tonight. I'll talk to you tomorrow, probably about the same time. Have a good night, take care of yourself, and stay healthy. Bye-bye.